Hello, people. What's going on? Yeah, it's the 2026 FIFA World Cup season, and so far, lots of matches have been played. There's been some surprises. There's been lots of goals scored, and then there's been some little upsets recorded already at the ongoing 2026 FIFA World Cup. What has been the biggest shocker or the biggest upset that you guys have experienced so far? For me, the biggest upset at the ongoing FIFA World Cup 2026 is the result of the match between Spain and Cape Verde, which ended 0-0. I never expected that to happen. Actually, I predicted Spain to win 3-0, but at the end of the day, I was given a shocker. I was given a surprise. I didn't watch the match, but after the match had been played, I checked the scoreline and I saw 0-0. I couldn't believe it. I looked again to be sure that I saw full time, or was it half time that I actually saw. I looked a second time, full time. I checked again, full time, and I looked at the fixtures again. It was actually Spain versus Cape Verde, and it was 0-0. And then I began to make researches, getting highlights, and I listened to people analyzing, giving their post-match analysis of the match, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. That's the biggest shocker for me. But that's just how football is for you. Anything can happen. Remember at the last World Cup Qatar 2022, the biggest shocker for me was the result of the match between Saudi Arabia and Argentina, which ended 1-0 in favor of Saudi Arabia. And though Argentina still went on to win the competition or to win the tournament at the end, but losing to Saudi Arabia was a real shock to a lot of football fans because nobody saw it coming. So that was it. And talking about Saudi Arabia and looking at the results that they had in their match against Uruguay, it wasn't also a surprise for him because over the last 2 to 3 years, the Saudi Arabia Professional Football League has actually experienced some significant growth and improvement. And when the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, Sadio Mane, and the likes of others joined the Saudi League, it was expected that the migration of these formerly Europe-based players into the Saudi League was definitely going to improve their league, and that's what we are seeing right now. That's really reflected in the quality of the football that they play in that country. And then playing a 1-1 draw against Uruguay didn't come as a surprise, and then it can only get better for that country. And I'm really happy for the results that they have been able to record so far, because they've actually invested a lot into building and improving the league, and now they are gradually seeing the results of the investments that they've made over the years. Yeah, Sweden versus Tunisia was also a bit of surprise to a lot of people. 5-1. Yeah, even to me, mind you, I never expected Tunisia to even see a draw. I knew they were going to be beaten because going by the performances that Tunisia churned out at the last AFCON, the African Cup of Nations, I never expected them to pose any much threat. And, it was expected that they were going to lose. It was really expected to me for them to lose against Sweden. Yeah, that's by the way. But I just never saw that scoreline coming. The 5-1 scoreline was really, beyond my biggest expectation and speculation. But that's just it. And in the process, they sacked their coach, and then a new coach has been appointed. Reina, who had coached a number of other African countries in the past, like Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, couple of others. Another shocker was the match between Germany and Curacao. It wasn't a surprise that Germany won, but the highest I expected, was 2-3-0, but not 7-1. That was a total demolition of Curacao. But at least Curacao were able to score a goal, equalize Germany after they scored the first goal, before Germany now decided to go on rampage of goal scoring, and the goals were just pouring from left, right, center, and that's actually expected of Germany, but not 7-1. And that's so brutal of Germany to have done that. But then, no mercy. Everyone is, competing at the World Cup to win, and to win convincingly, and to also make statements, and to indirectly say to other opponents that, yeah, we are here for business, we are not joking. Yeah, that's just it. Brazil, Morocco, actually knew it was going to be a tough match, but I never expected that it was going to be a draw. I had predicted Brazil to have won by 2-1, but to my surprise, Morocco even scored first. They drew the first blood, and Brazil had to scrabble for a draw. Morocco played quite a beautiful game during the first half. I watched the match. It was such a beautiful game. In fact, Brazil had to defend for most of the first half, and I couldn't believe it, because Morocco kept pressing and pressing and pressing. But then when the Brazilian manager, the coach, Carlo Ancelotti, made changes at the second half, the game changed a little bit, and they were able to control the game more. But eventually, they couldn't score more than one goal, and it ended 1-1. I actually thought Brazil were going to win, though Morocco have always proven themselves, going by what they did at the last World Cup in Qatar, being the first and the only African country so far to have reached the semi-final of the World Cup. You could tell, and also the last African Cup of Nations tournament, they also got to the final and lost to Senegal. Though there's been a bit of controversy resulting from the final of the AFCON, which is an entirely different conversation. But over the last few years, Morocco as a team have proven to be a solid team, and then it's no surprise that they gave Brazil a run for their money, and then I believe it's only gonna get better for Morocco. I never supported them anyway, but with what they've proven, with what they've shown, the type of performance they've put up against Brazil, it only goes to show that they are here for business also. They are not joking. And I wish Morocco the best, and I think so far they are the best team representing Africa, even though we don't know the type of performance that Senegal are gonna churn out, just yet. They'll be playing against France. So after Senegal played, we can now tell whether Morocco are still the best or whether Senegal are the best so far. Egypt also played against Belgium, and they were able to get a 1-1 draw. I think that's impressive. USA Paraguay, wow, 4-1. I knew that US, being the host, and also considering the fact that it was Mauricio Pochettino that has been the coach of the national team of United States of America, I had a feeling that they were gonna be building quite a strong team, that was gonna be able to compete at the World Cup. But honestly, I wasn't expecting the scoreline, the final scoreline, in the match between USA and Paraguay, 4-1. That's a massive statement that they made. I hope that they are able to maintain that form and that level of performance at the World Cup. And so far, I've only been able to predict one match very accurately, very correctly, and it was a match between Netherlands and Japan. Before the World Cup started, I predicted they were going to play 2-2, and they played 2-2. So yeah, I give it to myself on that. I hope to be able to predict more matches. Stay safe, everyone. Be good. Have a lovely week ahead. God bless you. Ciao.